guys, so as promised, I am going to take a look at this lab and I'm going to help you write conclusions if that's what you've had trouble with. If you either want to resubmit your lab with a better written conclusion, or if you didn't do a conclusion at all and you have no idea how to start. Watch this video and we will write your lab conclusion. So I got a sample lab right here. I stole it from one of the students and changed their names. All right, but here we go. They've collected their data. Here is their results from their control experiment so that they know what a positive result on their lab looks like. And then here are their test results on the unknown. We can see that I got a positive result for sulfate on unknown number 8. So unknown number 8 contained sulfate. That was one of our positive results. And the other positive result is that unknown number 6 contained iron 3. The way that we know this is because we ran a control experiment and we found that a positive result for iron 3 turns the liquid into a brownish black red color. And when we ran the test with unknown number 6, we got that exact same result. Same for number 8. Our control experiment up here showed that when the solution was positive for sulfate, the test would return a cloudy white color. And when the sulfate test was ran on unknown number 8, a cloudy white tint appeared. So both of these were positive. So now let's go write the conclusion. Scroll down. Now, unlike in previous labs in which I gave you each of the headers and you had to fill them in, now I'm just giving you an empty space to write. All right. If you prefer, you can still include the headers. But even though I did not specifically give you these headers, you still have to include all of these portions to get full points on your lab. So let's get to it. In fact, just to make sure that we include everything, I am going to write these headers in anyways. Maybe I'll delete them anyways, afterwards. But I want to make sure that I include everything. All right. Sources of error. All right. Suggestions to expand lab and future research. Okay. That was down below. Did I spell everything right? No, I did not. Of course not. All right. Make sure that you spell check your lab. You go through and just check for punctuation and stuff. All right. Again, if you misspell something, Google knows it. All right. It spots it. So you can go and you can get it fixed. All right. There it is. Red squiggle underline. Let's just fix that. All right. Suggestions. Thank you. All right. So anyways, the objective of your lab was simple. Okay. The purpose of this lab was to identify the composition of at least 2 unknown compounds using tests for specific ions. Rewrite that however you want, guys, but the objective of this lab was written right here at the very top. Identify the presence of certain ions in at least 2 mystery solutions. That is your objective. That gets you your first point. All right, which means that the next part is really easy. What are the results? Well, in this case, the results were simple. Unknown 6 tested positive for the presence of iron 3 ions, and unknown 8 tested positive for the presence of sulfate. So I'm just going to write that down here. All right. Unknown 6 tested positive for the presence of iron 3 ions, while unknown 8 tested positive for the presence of sulfate ions. That's it, guys. This gets you a full letter grade on this lab. Just concisely and accurately giving me your results. All right. Don't lie. Don't make things up. Go look at your table and tell me what your positive results were. You needed 2. And if you did not get 2, then you should explain the section why you only got 1. All right. Now we have to explain our results. Okay, so how do we know that unknown 6 tested positive for the presence of iron 3? Well, let's explain how this worked. All right, so prior to testing the unknowns, we ran the experiments with solutions that we knew contained, I can't spell, contained the ions we were looking for. We did this so that we could observe what a positive test result looked like. All right. In the case of the iron 3 test, a positive result would look like a deep red brown solution. All right. This was the result we got with unknown number 6, indicating that it contained iron 3. All right, there we go. I'm going to pause this real quick and write up my explanation for the sulfate ion as well. Pausing. Boop. There we go. Based on our control experiment, a positive result for sulfate would result in the solution turning a cloudy white, which is what happened when we ran the test for unknown solution 8. Again, this is all you need to explain. All right, this is how I, as a reader, know that you actually got a positive result. Remember, your goal is that you should be able to hand your lab conclusion to your grandma, grandpa, auntie, or uncle who haven't taken chemistry in decades. And reading through this, they would be able to figure out what it is you did. All right. Let's talk about the sources of error. Now, no errors is never a correct result. All right. There's always some kind of error you can talk about. And when you talk about error, talk about how it might affect your results and how you might fix it in the future. So here are some possible errors that I will bullet point for you right now. Okay. Here we go. Possible errors bullet pointed. Here we go. All right. A possible error in this lab was pop, pop, pop. All right, you could talk about, for example, some of the test tubes appeared to be dirty. All right, this could affect results by dot dot dot, and then you tell me how it might affect results and how you would fix it. All right, the water bath in the phosphate test was accidentally heated to boiling. This happened in a couple of my classes. All right. This may have affected results by dot dot dot. And then you tell me how it might have affected results and how you might have fixed it. Okay. So again, your goal here is to talk about and maybe no error. Maybe you couldn't find any error at all. In which case, you could say talk about a possible error. A possible error in this lab was there was a likelihood that there were contaminants in the I don't know, in the control solutions. I don't know. Talk about contaminants. Talk about something. You can think about a possible error and come up with something. All right. Now, the last portion of this lab you need to do is suggestions on how to expand this lab and do future research. Now, here's the answer that I don't want here. I don't want you to say that, to expand this lab, I would like to do it with more tests that have prettier colors. It's like, that's not really expanding this lab. You just say that you like pretty colors, okay? This isn't kindergarten. I want you to talk about something you observed in this lab that you thought was interesting or weird and how you might investigate it further. All right, so here's one possible suggestion for improvement or expanding this lab. All right, that someone wrote down. All right, when doing this lab, the water for the phosphate test was supposed to be warm, but warm is not specified. All right, I would investigate how warm the water needs to be for this test, all right, by sampling, by running the test with water at various specific temperatures to see which gets the best results. All right, so there we go. Something interesting that you saw and a little idea about how to test it. All right, here's another one that I saw. All right, I would investigate how important it is that we add a specific number of drops of each solution. Would it work with one drop of each? I would experiment to find what is the least amount of solution we could use and still have the test work. All right, so these are both just, again, expansions on this lab, something that was observed by the student, all right, by you, that you could then elaborate on with future research. Again, the low effort answer is always just, I would like to do this with more stuff, all right? Maybe I'll give you a point for that if I'm feeling generous, but I really want you to dig in, think about what was interesting or weird in this lab, and design some kind of test or experiment to investigate it further. Anyways, guys, use this to help you write your lab conclusion and resubmit your labs by Monday, January 31st at the latest so that I can grade it and get any corrections in to marking period 2. Thank you.